Hey, good evening, everyone. So my name is Ravi Buduma. I am the founder of StartupYo. StartupYo is a platform to help small businesses to establish and run their business successfully. We help connecting required resources, expertise, training, technology, whatever is needed to start your business successfully. We help in the roadmap, and then we help you to grow successfully. I have Mr. Nilesh Desai today. So he's long-term entrepreneur. He's a entrepreneurship journey is about 40 years. He's running right now a company called SME Analytics. SME Analytics basically does financial analysis about your industry, and then make sure what kind of when pros and cons gone into your finances. So it's more of analytics for your accounts. So Nilesh Desai will explain you more about it. Today we are going into the topic of purchase. So Nilesh Desai garu is going to explain how important a purchase is in the business entire process, and how it can make you increase your profit also. So let's listen from him. Sir, over to you, sir, please.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, everybody, to participate on this Saturday after heavy rains in Hyderabad. Everybody is badly affected, and my effort is in this Churn or One series. This is the fifth lecture. Fifth webinar we are holding. First webinar was on cleaning. Second was on idle asset. Third was inventory. Last Saturday we had a on marketing. The idea is to make accidental entrepreneurs. That means people who have no jobs or something, they have become entrepreneur, or people who have got skill in one particular sector, lacking the skill in other sectors, like somebody who has worked in a technical background in a corporate sector for 5 years or 10 years. He will have a lot of knowledge about his technical items, but he will not have a knowledge about marketing as well as finance, and these are all critical functions. So he has to learn. So my effort is to try to bridge that gap wherever it is there, and more particularly units below 2 crore turnover, they may not be having access to a lot of latest happenings. So that is the effort. So today is the fifth in that series. It is purchase is a profit center. Most of the manufacturing unit who are using raw material of their own will be knowing that a raw material consists of about 50 to 70 80% depending on which industry are there you are there. So that requires a continuous attention of the entrepreneur or his next man to save. And if he does the timing properly, he will be able to save 1 to 2% of cost in overall, or sometimes in this only he makes substantial profit contribution. Purchase can contribute substantially to your bottom line. So, in any manufacturing unit, there will be A class, B class, and C class item. A class is the item which is roughly consisting of 20% of your item, but it will constitute 80% of your purchase cost. So, if you take care of that, you will be able to substantially reduce the cost, or you will improve the profitability. It does not mean that B and C class are not critical. B will generally constitute 15% of your items purchase cost, and C will be constituting 5% of the purchase cost. But that 5% items, in number, it may be about 80% of that total purchases you make, like electrical bulbs or pencil, pen, rubber, all that which is negligible in cost. But without that, your total machinery or total office will come to stand still. So this ABC analysis helps you to classify the items in your stores according to the priority of requirement, and use it for delegating the responsibility. So C class item can be delegated to the supervisor level person, so that he is on the spot in production shop floor or office assistant who is on the office side. They will have to take care of this C class item, this thing. B class item, both probably supervisor and the entrepreneur can decide the stock level and other things, and make choice for the purchases, how often it should be purchased, so that every time the entrepreneur may not have to look into the this thing. There will be a set procedure which will be followed, and the frequency also will be followed depending on the stock availability. eh, Stock availability which is critical. So, ABC analysis is a necessity for all the production, all the MSME. And when you are a job worker, the raw material is provided by your customer, and the remaining item become very critical. See, like in fabrication, supply of electrode, supply of oxygen and acetylene gas or LPG gas, repair of the items becomes very critical, and any less attention paid to them will be fatal for production and profit. So the importance is, how do you arrive at the economic order quantity? This is known as in purchasing this thing EOQ model. It helps you to improve your cash flow. See, generally I tell your mother or your grandmother, when he goes to the market, she will buy 10 kilo rice and 1 kilo of salt, or this half kilo salt, but she will not buy 10 kilo salt and 1 kilo rice. So she is a better manager of controlling that inventory and purchase cost. See, when you buy any item, there are various costs, variable costs involved, which are sometimes it is intangible. You may say that one pencil cost me 3 rupees, but the cost of the person to go to market and bring it may be coming out to 10, 12 rupees per pencil. And the opportunity cost of not having that man in the office, that also, if you add, the pencil which is costing 3 rupees may come to be 35, 40 rupees. So you will have to be, you have to finalize, you have to understand economic order quantity. That is where how much order you have to place for which item in which quantity. There are standard formulas, and see, if you purchase overstock that item, the carrying cost also is becoming very very costly. See, because you are spending money on your storage capacity. And suppose if you buy a C class item in bulk, then there may not be a place available for putting B class item or A class item. So economic order quantity you have to work out for all the items, and then you should go on delegating to a lower level people, so that automatically stocks are verified, and purchase weekly or fortnightly, this quantity can be purchased. Now, most critical function in any purchase decision is the importance of suppliers. So, how do you find your supplier? How do you locate your supplier? How do you, whether you go to the market or supplier comes to you? These are all critical. And see, there is a saying: if a supplier comes to your table, he will accept your terms of purchases. While if you go to him, he will dictate the terms. So, keeping that in mind, you will have to locate your suppliers in such a way that the cost does not go, or you can reduce the cost. So suppliers have importance role in at every stage of the product's life cycle. Say, many times, many progressive MSME units will be developing continuously some other product to meet the market requirement. And in that case, some of the items which are which you may not be knowing how to source. So your existing supplier base will be helping you to locate those things. Then see, fabrication unit, steel will be a raw material. For cotton ginning mill, cotton will be raw material. So all these where to buy, that is a very critical. And who is, from where to buy, who is the supplier. In competitive market, MSME need to work closely with their suppliers to get the best out of their product. So it depends on your negotiating skill with the supplier, not only on prices, delivery, whether he X stock he will deliver, or he will supply free of cost to you. All that has to be considered while placing an order. The government rules also, like way bill, way bill and other things, also becomes critical for your supply chain. So you will have to select a supplier who meets the requirement for regulatory requirement. If you buy something and then get hold somewhere, both of you, supplier as well as you, will come in the problem. Procurement, that is, purchase is not only simple buying and selling, but it is also to get the best value of your suppliers by efficiently managing them. This is very critical. If you see next this thing, I will tell you about how do you keep, what is the importance of suppliers relationship. See, you should understand very critically, when you start a unit, you may go for a bank loan, and bank can give you a loan. Bank is only one, but there is a possibility of hundreds of suppliers coming for you, depending on your reputation. And with better management, they will, if you put total supplies by 100 suppliers, maybe overgrown than the limit what you are enjoying with the bank, for more particularly MSME unit. So they become very critical to help you for your cash flow also. That means you will have to take care of suppliers very carefully. Do not harm their own egos and own this thing, and try to adjust with the terms and other things very conveniently, so that it is not affecting the relation. It is very easy to it is very, it takes longer time to build a relation, but will take a minute to spoil that. So that is very critical. Any entrepreneur will have to keep this in mind. Uh, uh, and see, this is very critical for entrepreneur. Then most critical part is reputation management. Most of the MSME do not understand the meaning of reputation. According to uh, according to me, if you maintain your reputation good, n number of suppliers, n number of things will happen to you. So the end supplier, what he needs, when you he is making money out of supplying to you, but he needs his payment in time. So when you are giving offering him some payment terms or credit and other things, you should be careful, align with your cash flow, and try to see that you maintain the good payment terms with him. Whatever you have said, say 15 days. On 14 days, if you give him the check, he will double the supply to you very conveniently if you keep the good relation. So that is why relationship is very critical. Relationship building is like keeping a credit balance in bank account, so that you will get suppliers help and support when needed. Entrepreneur should explain the general system followed by him, so that the communication improves between suppliers and entrepreneur. See, basically, sometimes MSME unit may be ISO 9000, or they may be doing some export or something, and they have to follow certain standard systems, and the supplier may not be knowing or may not be aware. So when you introduce first time to the supplier, explain, understand his problems also, and so that your system for particular supplier can be accommodative. See, generally accommodative policies of yours will get you lot of suppliers, and see when once you understand each other's perspective, the relationship building becomes very easy. Now, coming back, when you have identified your requirement, now you have to find out who are your suppliers. How do you find out? There are various ways. One way is observation. When you are moving around, you will be able to know this fellow is selling this fellow. When you go to market like Raniganj or Fatehnagar, you will be able to observe around and see that. The other way is suppliers also roams around in the industrial area, and he locates what item is manufacturing, or he gets access to many databases and try to reach you out if your number if he is able to get your telephone number and things like that. So so observation is very critical. Then you suppose you got an existing network of suppliers, you can ask for new item which are there in the other possible this thing. Referral is technology is growing, so you can become a join a social group, Facebook, Instagram, online community of suppliers. They will try to you will try to get a number of leads from them, or they can approach you. Then other ways, online marketplaces. Locally, business are listed in marketplaces like Just Dial, Sureka, Trade India, India Mart. All these people, when you give them your inquiry, it will reach through the. They will classify. Algorithm are designed in such a way that they will classify, and all over place your inquiry will go. So you may get a suppliers from that. Once you get a new supplier, you have to be very very good to keep the relation. You should invest some time with the new supplier, understand what he does. That will help you to get the information practically free of cost, which otherwise it be difficult. You will have to go to the market and search. Then, see, depending on your size, if you are too small, verbal communication from your shop floor, you can take a decision for buying. Or if you are a little larger, you may have a stores department, the indent is going there, and then it comes to purchase assistant or purchase manager, or it can come to you. So, for a growing company, the purchase process has to be that a written or verbal intent is given, and once intent is given, when the purchases are made, it is to be informed to the concerned person who is in the stores, and then store fellow may have to inform the person who wants it. That way, you can cut short. Otherwise, larger organization in MSME, the order item comes, but the user will not be knowing for days together. That increases a lot of cost for available having a available item in the factory, and you are not able to use. It's a large problem area. So these are the gray areas where entrepreneur should define his processes, very purchase process very nicely, and explain to the people, so that the just in time sort of concept can be uh, executed wherever it is possible. Then when the supplier supplies the material, it should go to the stores wherever. Many times we don't take care of that rejected item. When supplier comes up for payment, will tell your item is rejected. It harms your reputation. The moment you realize, inform the supplier, but these are the items which are getting rejected. Please collect it or let us know how to send it back to you. And if the item are accepted, give it to the entrepreneur or to the account department, whatever procedure you are followed, so that they can process for the payment as per the payment term, which is agreed between supplier and entrepreneur or purchaseman. This is very critical for keeping up the relationship with suppliers. Then it is better to evaluate a supplier on a quarterly, half yearly, or yearly basis. For C class item, you can select one or two suppliers who can put all the item of C class and supply you in a phased manner according to the purchase order or according to the verbal instruction, so that you do not run out of the stock or you do not have excess stock. So this is very critical. Rating the supplier is also a very good this thing. More particularly, some suppliers harass you sometimes. They take an order and they don't supply. And if in that process you may lose a good customer for whom you are making. So keep in mind that control process. So if you are MSME, this thing, so it is better to educate the suppliers that this I am following ISO certificate. This is my process, and you please follow this. Then it will help the relation building, and it will also ask suppliers to be quality conscious, because otherwise quality rejections rate will increase. So this is, and getting a quality product from the suppliers will also ultimately help you to reduce your rejection rate with the customer. Particularly when you are dealing with defense and things like that, it is very critical to have every component tested or inspected properly, so that final assembly, which sometimes may cost lakhs of rupees, may not get into problem. Now, after this pandemic, government has announced Atmanirbhar Bharat, and the underline of that is we are moving for the survival of fittest. See, over another 5-10 years, only those units will survive. Those MSM units survive who are following the best in that. So survival for fittest. So every entrepreneur has to work on that. कि भाई, tomorrow is my last day. I have to perform. Every moment you have to perform. So, and we are also moving to international competition. See, today MSME is supplying 45% of India's export. And under Atmanirbhar Bharat, and as our Minister of MSME suggests, we should increase this 45% export to 60% from MSME or 70%. So we will have to work on uh, continuously on becoming competitive. You cannot become competitive only by buying cheap. Buying cheap, you may face a quality problem. Buying costly, you may reduce the rejection rate, but you will increase the final cost. So you will become uncompetitive and you will lose the order. So we are always in a double-edged sword. You have to walk very carefully, otherwise you will fall down. And this should become international competition and quality both have to be imbibed as a culture in your organization, from your peon to the workman to the director or entrepreneur. Everybody every second will have to follow the quality, cost competitiveness, reduce the wastage, all that in a total cultural this thing you'll have to change. Now I am going to explain Kraljic matrix. The Kraljic matrix was founded, and the idea was, okay, there are non-critical item, bottleneck items. There are strategical item and leverage item. So if you see the graph, the profit impact versus supply risk. If you see, non-critical item has got much lower profit impact, and as you go on the right side, bottleneck items, that some items will be the impact of on profit will be low, but strategic item, supply risk as well as profit impact, strategic item, you will find that there is the highest impact on this thing. So you will have to concentrate. Every entrepreneur should concentrate on right hand side top item. It does not mean that you don't have to look after the other things. This is giving you a matrix where entrepreneur's time or purchase manager's time should be spent leveraging item, standard commodities with abundant source of suppliers, utilizing purchase power. Like suppose when I was doing fabrication steel, I have got 200 suppliers possible. So I can leverage because item is generally available, but say some time of special electrodes which is required. Say when I was doing inconel welding, I need inconel wire for welding. So I was not knowing, though it is a C class item for my production, but not having enough knowledge, I suffered a lot. So then ultimately I got it. But this item can be projected well, and this thing. So non-critical item has got a lower supply risk as well as a lower impact on profit. Like that, the other this thing matrix is against cost impact versus risk impact. So here also self-explanatory. So we will have to follow these subconsciously or consciously we are following. But when we divide this, we'll be able to segregate the delegation required for purchasing decisions. So these are the few things which I wanted to share with you. Thank you, everybody. And now we can open for question answer, Mr. Ravi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you so much, sir, for your valuable information. So we'll open the questions. So please leave your questions in the comments.
Right?
We'll read out the questions for Mr. Desai.
Only 12? So can we start, Ravi?
Yes, sir. I just announced it, so I'm just waiting for people to start asking their questions. Please leave your questions in the comments. We will read out the questions. How to capture market in my district. Chintu is asking like how to capture market. I mean, how to capture all market in my district. So it's not so clear. He's asking about the capturing the market, which is nothing related to this topic. Please keep the questions more relevant. I have another question here from the Laka Mahindra. What to do if supplier fails to serve well after repeated warnings? So that is a question. So what is the right way to handle them?
Thank you, Mr. Mahendra. You see, I'm a Gujarati, and we have got 26 words for settlement. So it is better leave that supplier and let him be this thing. You try to not to deal with him, but don't spoil the relation with that supplier because we do not know. Okay, he may become very critical for some of the items when shortage comes. So keep the relation with every supplier this thing, and you tell that we have failed. So let us you try to improve, help him to improve, give a feedback. If he improves, well and good. If he does not, you move to other suppliers. But don't spoil the relationship with him. Am I clear, Mr. Mahendra?
Yeah. So please leave your response also in the comment if you are satisfied. Otherwise, you can ask the question more elaborately. I have another question from Manjula here. What's the difference between the purchase order and purchase requisitions?
Thank you, Manjula. See, when you wanted to buy something and your production people give that I need this item by this time, that is known as purchase requisition or purchase indent. Whatever quantity he wants, he will have to specify, and he has to tell so that he has a enough time or cushion for purchase to procure. And entrepreneur or purchase manager will talk to the supplier either verbally or by getting the offer and giving a purchase order according to your size and your ISO 9000 or not. Or you can regularize that. So when you ask some supplier to supply some item, it is known as purchase order. I hope that this is, and then in that purchase order, you try to specify standard terms, whether he has to supply the material here, when the payment is made, when the inspection will be done. All that should be clear in purchase order, and that will help both the parties to understand and build a relationship. I hope I answered your question, Manjula.
Thank you, sir. It was very clear. There is another question from Imran. How do I keep track of my purchase orders? So,
See, there are two, three ways. In a small company, you can note down on a notebook, and when the item comes, you can delete, or you can develop a computerized system where all the purchase order you are issuing, and then a dashboard sort of thing where it can give you which item has come. Because stores, if you are large organization, stores will intimate this item has come. So automatically, the computer system will record it so that that item will be ticked, or it can go to some other folder where quality inspection other things are waiting. This way you can track, but it is necessary to track the purchase order. Otherwise, when you don't want some material and supplier gives you that material in this thing, you will have double inventory, or you have made some alternative arrangement and not informed the supplier. You will have a double inventory, or a communication problem will be created. So it is better to check your purchase order, and that also you can classify in A, B, C. A class item can be looked by an entrepreneur or a higher up in purchase. B and C can be left to supervisor and other people, or stores manager, or whosoever it is. This will help to improve your profitability and reduces the stockouts. I hope I answered your question, Imran.
thank you. Sauradeepa, how to handle working with a crucial suppliers who was unreliable?
See, in practically all life kind situation, this kind of things are happens. As unreliable suppliers will be there. So that is why I am suggesting to have a rating system. But when you start say fresh, you may not be knowing. So after one or two warnings or something, you can switch over. You have to use that Kraljic matrix. Strategic item create a alternative source of supplies. Otherwise, you will make your customers unhappy, which is very bad for any business. Keeping a good relation with customer is your prime responsibility. So please understand, if he is not supplied in a day or two or whatever it is promised, make an alternative arrangement so that your production does not stop and don't differ your delivery terms with your customer. Customer is your profit center, and you have to build relation with both of them. Both are critical, including HR. Anywhere human intervention is there, you have to keep sweet tongue so that you win the battle. I hope I answered your question, Deepa.
Thank you, sir. There is another question from Paripurna. If I want to achieve cost saving in limited time, so what would you consider?
See, today's presentation we have given EOQ and this Kraljic matrix. If you follow that, substantial cost saving will come. Even if you are a large in MSME, you can try to adopt Toyota production system where just in time things are there. If you look into, say, Maruti or Toyota vehicle manufacturing in Kirloskar Toyota, they have got tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 suppliers when they came. Now, today, they only buy item from tier 1. They have asked tier 2 and tier 3 people to align with tier 1, and they give an order not in number of days basis, number of hour basis, or number of shift basis. Say, I want the item to be delivered at 8 o'clock, so it goes in the production time 9 o'clock. There is no inspection required, it is self-certified, and there is a traceability after 10 years also from where they have purchased that item, that defined, and the responsibility can be fixed. But we MSME, and particularly with India logistic and other things, we will have to build up a buffer stock for certain items, more particularly critical items. So you have to build your system such a way that you arrive at a cost optimization. It is not possible to reduce cost. Cost can be optimized. You can reduce number of transports in between, a number of follow-ups. You can be this thing, that is all in the formula of EOQ, which has been explained. Okay, all these variable costs you will have to work out and then decide number of item to be purchased for particular item. So suppose if you take pencil, earlier I explained in this thing, pencil may cost 3 rupees or 5 rupees, but if you have to go send your person who is getting 10,000 rupees salary or 15,000 rupees, and he goes by vehicle, all that cost and opportunity cost, if you count, that 3 rupees or 5 rupees pencil may cost you 35-40 rupees. So this is what the advantage of EOQ you will get as you start with this and adopting. And once the culture develop and the size of your company grows, you'll have to go upgrade your systems in such a way. Thank you, Purna.
Now, I have another question here from Shravan Kumar. Do small business need a purchase manager?
See, as far as see, in latter of the series, in Churn and Burn, we are going to talk about delegation and things like that. See, as you are growing, most of the entrepreneur may not be available in the factory because he has to go and attend his customer, and at that time somebody has to take care of these things. So then if your turnover is increasing, say 5 crores or 10 crores, it is better to have a professional purchase manager. uh, Otherwise, if it is small, 1 crore or so, you can look into, go to your house, your own household. Your mother takes the decision for stores as well as purchase, and she goes and buys rice. She knows the hunger requirement of all of you. But when it is Dashera time or Diwali time, husband and wife or father and mother both take a call and buy some household this thing utilities like your refrigerator or thing like that. Both are involved. So it depends on in which life cycle stage you are there. That can be helpful to you to decide whether you need a professional purchase manager or you can start with purchase assistant and then purchase manager, like that. That's a organized structure which will come in next 5 or 6 webinars. How the organized structure helps you to make your unit growing. I hope I answered your questions, Ravan.
Okay, I have another question here from Manjula. How do I respond to a negative review, like online reviews, negative reviews? How do I handle them?
If you are talking about purchase, you may be reviewing your this thing, but if you are talking about your own company's reputation management, total overall, you should be very careful and uh, uh, you may not resist, but you can explain your point of view. It is very critical. If you leave unanswered, you are waiting for a problem. So negative perception in the market harms you when you don't know how much harm it has done. It cannot be measured. So be careful, and online reputation from wherever you are getting this kind of reviews, uh, be soft and answer them politely. Explain your point of view. That will help you to grow. Thank you, Manjula.
Thank you, sir. There's another question from Shravan here. Shravan Kumar is asking, how does purchase order approval work? I mean, he's talking about the process of the purchase.
See, generally, you have to work out what is your internal cost of purchase order making. You may be considering, suppose if you are a large unit like a Maruti or something, make signing one purchase order by the purchase manager or something may cost in few hundred rupees. So what you have to do is give some impress money to your stores or wherever this C class item below say 100 rupees or 200 rupees, they can take a decision and buy. That will reduce your 60-70% of workload for purchase manager. And if there is a very high value item, the entrepreneur should know because he is allocating the money generally. Or in large company like Maruti, the chief financial officer should approve that yes, you can make this purchase. While making purchase, capex item and revenue item should be separated out. Capex requires a different kind of approval, while revenue may require a lower kind because it is linked with your production. So production or project-based finances, you can have a different system, and capex item you can have a different system
Different
depending
types.
on the size where you are. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. So I have another question from Sauradeepa. How to negotiate with suppliers? So how to negotiate with suppliers?
First thing, when you have to negotiate, you have to be soft first and explain your this thing and why you want that particular price point or why do you want your particular payment terms without um, excessive information giving to the supplier. You will have to negotiate, say whatever you are looking for, and you should not become unreasonable. A 5 rupees item, if you ask at 2 rupees, you will lose a supplier for whole lifetime. So you should do your internal assessment. Ki bhai, this 5 rupees item, what is the minimum I can get? Internet nowadays is helping you in number of places. Say suppose a item is which is 5 rupees here is available in 3 rupees at Delhi of similar quality, similar product. Then you can say, see, this is what my offer I got from Delhi. You can add transport cost or whatever it is. You should give me at 3 rupees 30 paisa or whatever you feel. And if from 5 rupees you can bring down to maybe 350. So negotiate as a hard this thing, and you should know your own timing. Your production department needs that item tomorrow, and if you go on bargaining and delay the delivery, ultimately somewhere your customer will be affected. So these are all parameters you should keep in mind. It does not mean that pay excessively. So you have to be very cautious. It's a very tough job in a way. See, in unit which is having a turnover of 2 crores, he will have to buy roughly 1.2 to 1.5 crore worth of items regularly every year. 2% saving will give him 3 lakhs age. So you should understand the cost economics also. Cost benefit analysis for every item has to be done. I hope I answered your question, Deepa.
Yeah, sir. I have another question here from Paripurna. What criteria do you use to evaluate supplier?
A very good question. Uh, See, if you have to evaluate any supplier for last 1 year, you look into whether he has supplied in time. That in supply time should be given little more marks than how he has behaved while uh, weighing the material quality, and all that parameters. Where does he stand? And while collecting his payment, how he has behaved. And on when you ask again for next item, how promptly he has reacted to that. Kal bataunga, and then he does not answer for week, then you are a loser. So that kind of supplier you should identify. Generally he takes this much time, or three reminders only he gives the quotation. You also should look into why he wants three reminders to give a quotation. Is there anything wrong with you, with your system, that you have not paid him in time, or you have not given him the correct weightage or whatever you got immediately. So and when item got rejected, you did not intimate. So you should increase transparency of your system, so that the rating becomes more useful to you, and it becomes a parameter for your growth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have another question here from. Sorry, I displayed the same question again. I have a question from what is that? Is the same question is already. Sorry. There's another interesting question here from Laka Mahendra. Is it okay to open a business with a relative? I mean, see, in terms of procurement or maybe partner, he's asking about. Even, I mean, I will add more to this question. So, can I have my relative as my supplier? So, how do we handle such kind of situations?
See,
Is it a good or not?
See, if you are talking about business, this kind of question has come earlier also, because many times after you come to a growth phase, a relative may become a problem area, and he may not allow you to professionalize, or you have to pay very high cost for this thing. In the beginning, you need somebody to trustworthy, who can handle the money, who can handle the situation. So it is easy to go with a relative. But after 3, 4, 5, 7 years, when your company is growing more than at 30% to 50% a year to year, then that gentleman or that person may become a liability, and you will not be able to throw him out, or you will not be able to use him, and you will not be able to professionalize your organization. So this is a big challenge for every MSME unit, and they should take the into consideration various factors. It seems very easy when you start, but in between 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, how it will be behaving, or will you be able to transfer him to some other department where his skill can be utilized for the development of business? I hope I answered your question, Mahendra.
Thank you, sir. How about, I mean, sir, I wanted to add one more question here. See, if how do you consider a supplier, I mean, a relative as a supplier? So how much you recommend that? I mean, being a partner is a different thing. Being a supplier, since we are in the purchase situation, so how far you consider as a positive or negative in this?
See, Ravi, it is becoming very easy when he comes as a supplier. But suppose in latter time on something, some problems comes. He supplies you inferior quality or he supplies at a higher rate or something. Then to overcome, to come out of that, it may have lot of repercussions. Sometimes it may go to your married life also. I know,
True, true, true.
I know my own nephew. He is supplying electrical items to one large company of my cousin brother. There he knows okay, I am trying to help him, and this help is for 3, 4, 5 years. So, and I am ready to pay 2% extra or something. He has told his people, don't bother buy this item from him. Then it's an indirect help to that, but it cannot be perpetual. So that is the thing. He should come back to his own grip so that he can stand on his own leg. See, we don't want parasites. We need people to grow with us. So
True, sir.
make sure that relation or relative does not end up in your bedroom.
True, sir. True, sir. Very true. Interesting discussion it is.
Mm.
So I have another question from Manjula. What do if supplier fails to? Sorry, sir.
This is
It
a
is
repeat
coming.
question.
No, no, no. It's no, no. The comments were coming up and down. One second. Let me add the right question. There's a question from Shravan. Why do we need an electronic purchase order system instead of a paper or email based system?
Shravan, see, anybody who starts a business has one ambition of growing his business to sky. And today, artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to be a new norm. It is not very far. If you are not this thing, so paper-based system has to slowly move to ERP based and
Electronic.
ERP or electronic, so that
So your voice is not clear, sir.
and so every item has become critical, and the cost. See, cost of signing a PO by paper and on the electronic system, there are a lot of cost advantages for electronic system. So you will have to understand and use that as the growth of company. In the initial stage, verbal order is okay, then purchase paper order is okay, then go to electronic or ERP system, then integrate your ERP system with your supplier's ERP system so that online payments and other things can be raised. That cut the cost very drastically. And once you have got enough data, you will be able to use many kind of algorithm to optimize your cost of procurement. It makes a significant saving.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir. And I'll take one last question. We are about to close the time.
Okay.
There is a question from Shravan. If an order for raw material is delayed, there may be a stop in production. How do you ensure this doesn't happen?
Thank you, Shravan. See, we are trying to go from existing system to Toyota kind of system. So, whosoever or a person on whosoever has we have placed an order, and if he is delayed, you have to make a decision whether to buy from in the cash from other suppliers or whatever other things. Make your people to run around you, no cost you can you can neglect the production, because if you slow down the production, the intangible or intangible cost will go up very drastically. Your manpower being idle, it will not be booked in your balance sheet. The cost of the rent what you are paying, so no cost you can afford to stop your production, so you will have to buy. That is why that matrix what we have shown, this that helps you to develop alternative source of supplies. And it's a very good matrix which has to be identified, and anybody can do it. He has to understand and start this thing, and once he comes on right hand side, uh, upward square, where entrepreneur should concentrate maximum energy. And today with the internet, a lot of alternatives can be developed. It depends on how speedily you are able to add up to the needs. See, India Mart, if you put it, suppose if you have got a trouble today, not to have that trouble again in future, you should use platforms like India Mart or Power to SME or many other platforms, and that will open up safety measures for you not to face that kind of problem again. See, this today's problem you have to buy at a crash, but not to happen is a critical item. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much, sir. I have one last question. We have a couple of minutes. We'll just talk. Sauradeepa is asking, what is the ISO 8001 and 9001? So, what is these certifications and how does it help in the purchase?
I think there is no ISO 8001. There is only ISO 9001 and above. 9001 is not a first and foremost thing, is not a quality certification. It is your process um, tracking certification. So if you are doing, so suppose if you are making shoes, you make only right leg shoes, the same thing will be repeated for this thing, and whatever process you are followed for that, it will continue to be same 10 years later also, and there should be a traceability. So in this process what happens, everybody in this chain gets understanding, and then they try to do that. Then the cost, either generally cost will go down or quality will improve. So there is a misconception. It is a ISO 9000 is a process uh, driven certification. So whatever you are doing, it is the same way you will be doing tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Thus, it helps you to repeat it. Repeat things will help you to reduce the cost. So ISO 9000 government also is giving lot of subsidy. So any unit who are ready should take that subsidy. That will help you to get Indian market or in international market also. That helps you to get entry. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much,
much.
sir. So, with this, we will be closing this today topic. Sir, what would be the next week topic? So, if you can give that.
Next week happens to be Dashera this thing, so we'll not have next week any webinar. Next webinar will be on 31st, and it will be very interesting topic, digital technologies, and it will be handled by one professor from ISB. So I request all that to take advantage, because digital technology after this particularly pandemic, lot of MSME units are facing lot of problem, and one of the need is how early you can adapt to digital technologies will open up considerable opportunities. So on 31st we will have a on digital technologies webinar which will be promoted. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was very, very wonderful session. It was so informative, and it was a wonderful interaction with our audience also. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all of you for joining. So there is a number scrolling on the bottom. If you wanted to contact us, In case StartupYo, if you wanted to start any business, if you need any expertise or anything, or if you wanted to talk to Mr. Desai Garu for any kind of suggestion or help or any kind of help for your business, so both numbers are available in the bottom, and if they are scrolling, you can note down and reach us. So thank you so much, sir. You have anything to say? Last words?
No, thank you, everybody. And
Thank you so much, everyone.
do participate
Yeah,
in the next webinar in a big
yes, sir.
number. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much once again. Hope you all stay home, stay safe. So see you all in the next webinar. Thank you so much. Do like, share our videos. Thank you so much once again. Bye bye.